He taught kings how to rule nations. But if Niccolò Machiavelli ever wrote The Art of Seduction instead of The Prince, his method would be too dark, too manipulative, maybe even banned. This isn't about romance, it's about power, control, and psychological warfare. Today we'll uncover Machiavelli's dirtiest method for seducing any woman. Not by being the most charming or the most handsome, but by making her believe she chose you while you were pulling every string behind the curtain. This is not love, this is strategy. They say love is blind. Machiavelli would laugh at that because love, when you strip away the poetry and perfume, isn't about blindness at all. It's about strategy, it's about power. It's about the delicate balance between control and surrender, between influence and vulnerability. And if politics is the art of governing people, then love is the art of governing hearts. In politics, there are no accidents, only intentions hidden behind the illusion of fate. The same is true in love. Every glance, every silence, every hesitation becomes a negotiation of emotional territory. Two people meet, and without realizing it, they begin to draw invisible borders around one another. Who will lead? Who will follow? Who will be remembered when the war is over? When Machiavelli wrote The Prince, he wasn't just teaching rulers how to control their subjects. He was revealing something deeper about human nature itself, that people crave the illusion of freedom, but secretly long to be led. They desire a figure who gives meaning to their chaos, even if that figure is the one who created the chaos in the first place. And that perhaps is why love feels so political, because it's not a meeting of equals. It's a constant dance of perception, persuasion, and power. In every relationship, no matter how innocent, there is a struggle for emotional dominance. One person sets the pace, defines the tone, dictates what silence means, and when it ends. The other adapts, adjusts, waits. It's not always visible. It can hide beneath smiles, affection, and shared laughter. But beneath the tenderness, there's always that ancient question: who holds the throne of attention? Attention, after all, is the new currency of love. In the age of infinite noise, to give someone your full attention is to give them power. The moment you think about them more than they think about you, the balance shifts. You've invested in a currency that can never be fully returned. That's the hidden taxation of emotion. Machiavelli might have called it the tribute of affection, the emotional tax that lovers pay to maintain the illusion of equality. He once wrote, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear." In romance, both coexist in a fragile equilibrium. Too much love and one becomes weak. Too much fear and one becomes distant. The mastery lies in understanding that affection and anxiety feed each other. Passion thrives not in comfort but in the tension between desire and uncertainty. Politicians maintain their rule by balancing hope and fear. Lovers often unknowingly do the same. Every "I miss you" is a campaign slogan. Every "I'm fine" is a diplomatic lie. Every "we need to talk" is a declaration of war. The battlefield may be invisible, but the stakes are real. Who will influence the other's emotions? Who will set the narrative of the relationship? Who will be remembered as the one with control when everything begins to fall apart? Machiavelli believed that a ruler's greatest weapon was not the sword, but perception. Appear kind, appear loyal, appear vulnerable, but always remain strategic. In love, this translates to the theater of emotion. We perform vulnerability not only to connect, but also to control the narrative of how we are perceived. We show our pain to gain sympathy, our joy to inspire attraction, our silence to provoke curiosity. The most powerful people in relationships are not those who feel the most, but those who understand what they feel and can use it consciously. Love then becomes a negotiation of appearances. You don't simply fall for a person. You fall for the version of them that fits your emotional agenda. You see what you need to see, and they show what they need to show, like diplomats shaking hands while concealing knives. Yet despite the darkness of this view, there's something beautiful in it, because it reveals how deeply human we are, how much we crave meaning in connection, even if we have to build that meaning out of strategy. Politics at its core is the management of hope. Love too survives only through hope. The belief that the next message, the next touch, the next confession might finally balance the scales of uncertainty. But balance never lasts. In every political system, one side always gains power. In every love story, one heart always loves more. And just like in the courts of Florence, where alliances shifted like sand, affection too is unstable. It requires constant maintenance, endless recalibration. Machiavelli would argue that stability in love, like stability in power, is an illusion bought at a cost. You can only maintain it through careful observation and awareness. Emotional intelligence becomes the key to keeping what seems calm. Sometimes peace is achieved only by pretending the war is over. In truth, it never is. Every moment of connection carries within it the potential for betrayal. And every act of devotion hides a trace of ambition, the desire to be the one that matters more. To love is to rule and be ruled. It's to experience the paradox of control, to give power away in order to gain influence. The greatest leaders knew that authority came not from force, but from persuasion, from shaping what others believe. The greatest lovers understand the same. You don't conquer someone by force. You make them want to surrender. You make them believe that surrender is freedom. So when we say love is politics, we're not being cynical, we're being honest. Every human bond is an alliance built on perception, emotion, and negotiation. Love is where diplomacy becomes art, and where hearts become nations, constantly redrawing their borders. Machiavelli might have written about princes and republics, but his words echo in every relationship. The one who understands the dynamics of affection and attention doesn't need armies or gold. They need only patience, awareness, and the courage to see love not as a fairy tale, but as the most intricate form of governance ever invented. And maybe that's the true secret. To love wisely is to rule gently. To love blindly is to be conquered. Because in the end, whether in politics or in passion, the rules remain the same. Power belongs to the one who understands the game. Power rarely enters quietly. In history, as in the human heart, every new order is born from the ruins of what came before. Machiavelli knew this. A ruler does not gain loyalty through peace alone. Peace breeds comfort and forgetfulness. To be remembered, to be desired, one must first disturb the equilibrium, shake the foundation, awaken attention, and then, when all seems uncertain, present the path back to calm. It sounds cruel, but it's simply how human nature works. We notice what interrupts us. We crave what unsettles us. We seek meaning in the midst of confusion and attach to whoever gives that confusion a shape. In love, the same pattern repeats, not as a tactic, but as a rhythm of emotion itself. Attraction does not grow in still waters. It thrives in tension, in contradiction, in the subtle dance between fear and comfort. What begins as curiosity becomes fascination. What begins as ambiguity becomes depth. Every story, every myth, every romance worth remembering begins with some kind of disorder. A spark that threatens the safety of what came before. Machiavelli might have written that chaos is the architect of loyalty. When the world trembled, people cling to the one who seems unshaken. In relationships, emotional chaos works the same way. When uncertainty rises, the person who remains calm becomes a lighthouse in the storm, not by controlling another's emotions, but by embodying the very opposite of their confusion. To create order, one must first understand chaos, not as destruction but as transformation. Chaos exposes the truth beneath appearances. It shows who we are when our certainties collapse. Lovers discover each other most deeply, not in perfect harmony, but in moments when harmony falters, when expectations break, when silence feels heavy, when words fail.